Welcome to Sunday Morning Live. Good morning, I'm Sian Williams with a show that gets to the heart and soul of the week's big stories. On today's programme, all that coming up. Jim Knight is hoping to have a rather peaceful day on the banks of the Tyne. Morning, Jim. Jim, thank you very much. It won't be that peaceful if they're doing that all day, will it? But we'll be back there a little bit later. First, though, let's meet some of our guests who are settling in to discuss today's topics. We have with us today welcome to the programme, all of you. Thanks very much for coming in. Of course, as ever, would like to know what you think too. You can comment by... The wife of a British taxi driver being held hostage by so-called Islamic State extremists has pleaded with the militants to see it in their hearts to release him. Katie Harrison from Tear Fund, and Katie's with us today. She was there talking about her determination to carry on her work in dangerous areas despite the risks. And that's what we're asking this morning, really. Should aid workers still be allowed to bring relief to refugees, or should the responsibility now be down to governments alone? That's the question for our vote this week. Should aid in conflict zones be left to governments? Text the word VOTE followed by yes or no to 81771. Text will be charged at your standard message rate. You can only vote once. I want to pick up those thoughts really with James first. James, you know what they're letting themselves in for. Shouldn't we allow them to go to help people?
Were innocent, didn't want to be there in the first place.
Enemy propaganda. And so everyone's targeted.
Yes.
Majid and CJ, could you just respond to that?
Yeah, I don't think we're prolonging the suffering. I think that's ridiculous, to be honest. I think we are alleviating a lot of people's need, and the people that we're now seeing held... So what you're seeing there is a historical thing that's happened that we have responded to.
A moment. I want to hear our other guests. Majid, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think any... so I think we have to look at the nature of the conflict. We have to be responsible.
From our newsroom studio. And welcome, Dominic. I gather that a couple of your colleagues have been murdered. I think, thank you. We're going to go to Newcastle, where we've been saying is World Peace Day, and there are many events there, and lots of people trying to make their voices heard. So let's go to Tyneside and go over to Jim Knight. Jim, what are they saying there? Hey, Jim, don't give them people to play with, get the government in. That's what one of the guests said there, Katie.
Well, it depends which government you're talking about. If you're talking about the government...
So she has that same woman, and... no, it wasn't. And I remember once saying to her, and I wrote this in
Brendan O'Carroll, more from him later on in the programme when he talks about his faith, his beliefs, and whether Mrs Brown does this 2,000-year-old book of prayers and prose still have anything to teach us today, then? We're joined by... hello, CJ on the sofa. So I'm going to start with you. The Bible is relevant or not, if you haven't read it?
Well, I know most of the stuff in it, because unfortunately...
Let's pick up on quite a few of those controversial comments, Krish. So we've got... it's basically most of it a work of fiction.
Sit down. It's great to watch. It's great to watch. Don't
start that. Don't do that without your costume, because it really does. Thank you to all our guests this morning, and thank you, of course, to you at home as well for your thoughts, and to those who joined us from Newcastle with Jim.